you youngsters out there may like playing Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U or perhaps Deluxe on the Switch, but have you ever played OG Mario Kart back in 1992? Now I know it's not fair to compare a modern game we know today that we love so much against something that was released like 30 years ago, but it is nice to know a little bit of history, see what the current Mario Kart that we know, see how it compares against when it was like this, back when it was at its roots in the 90s. So let's just have some fun and see how these two very different eras compare, shall we? Yeah, things are very different back then. Hey, look, Isabel's doing it old school, but sadly didn't do well. Poor Isabel. Of course, we know what happens when we win, right? I'm Luigi, number one. And of course, when we lose, which when in last place obviously stinks. Luigi lost. And as of this case, right here, you certainly don't want to lose here. Which, I confess, I don't usually like doing these type of races. So, yeah. To be honest, that's why I normally avoid these kind of races with the high VRs and all that stuff. Even though I have max VR, but it just don't work like that for me. That was real bad luck. Well, at least this here from the original game is unique. But obviously, this is no lucky 7 here because you will lose. It's because being a racing game, the objective is to be in first place, of course. But hey, this is awesome. You don't see that in Mario Kart these days, except probably Mario Kart 64 when you finish. But what about Battle? How does that compare against the 16-bit? Oh, scratch that. Now the fun part. Let's compare some of the stronger items that we know about. What about the Mighty Star? Well then. Well, this one is pretty obvious. It's the item that we all love to hate. The blue shell. I mean spiny shell. Remember, guys, the official name is Spiny Shell. Remember that. But didn't it exist in the original game? Nope. At least not yet. Mario Kart 64 was the first thing that debuted this infamous item. One thing for sure, though, Mario Kart 8 / Deluxe definitely had it pretty weak. Remember what it did in Double Dash in the GameCube? What about the mighty lightning? Yeah, we don't like the lightning. It really stinks when it happens. Yeah, we can see how this happens in the modern game. But in the old, I did manage to do it, but it's really, really hard to get because the original games obviously just had it so rarely. But it's worth it because in the original, the effect is really strong. So let's see. Yep. Very, very, very different from what you see here. Then of course, the special cut. Try to finish this up a little bit. We all know what happens when you beat special. Yep, we all do. We all know what happens when we beat special. Little credits. But that's what makes it pretty cool, though. Well, guys, to be serious though, yes, I play Mario Kart 8, and you may see me there. I have Maximum VR, but between these two games, I prefer the original a lot more because it's not really just because it's the first Mario Kart nor nostalgia. Well, nostalgia does have a bit of it, but it's really because of how important this game is. It's not just the first Mario Kart. First kart racing game in general, and it started all those spin-offs that we all know about since. So and like the first F-Zero and Star Fox, this game was revolutionary back when it first came out. So this game here is special. So, but this video is just to show you guys what was my first Mario Kart. So I obviously have a long game experience. So. And things obviously changed a lot over the years. Because remember the original game was like 30 years old, well, almost 30. But it definitely is a huge difference. So it's basically just show how much things have changed. And just for a little fun, a little history thing. But you just have a little fun. So, if you guys like my video, just give it a like and feel free to subscribe. Oh, one more thing. Don't we all just love the original Rainbow Road? Because of how original that course is and how well it still stands up to this day. And not to mention the music and the fact we don't have any walls here. It's called special for a reason, y'all. Well, see you next time. Have a nice day.